Hey guys, it's Cameron. Welcome back to Around the World with Cameron. The United States is a very car-dependent country in many places. Cities like Los Angeles, Atlanta, and Dallas, among other cities, are very hard to get by without a car to drive, which is pretty much the reason why the anger at the drastically rising gas prices all over the country is quite justifiable. However, as of September 2022, fuel prices have been falling recently in many places around the country. However, they are still very high compared to how they were in 2018. A lot of people looking to visit or move to or within the United States have been focusing on states that have cheaper fuel prices. And if you clicked on this video, you are probably wondering what states have the cheapest fuel prices. And you have come to the right place, as I have compiled a list of the top 10 states in the US with the cheapest fuel prices, as well as some of the most visited cities and what there is to do in these states. Now, before we get started, I want to tell you how exactly I've compiled this list. This list is based on data released by the American Automobile Association, or AAA. I have compiled the list by taking the fuel price averages of each grade of fuel as well as diesel from each state and giving them my own score based on the average I found with those four prices combined. On this list, the highest score will be at number 10 and the lowest score will be at number 1. However, I think it is safe to let you know fuel prices in the United States change constantly. And all this information is based on information collected on the 30th of August 2022, the day I started writing the script for this video. So if you're watching this on a much later date, this video may be very outdated for you. But anyways, with all that aside, let's get started. Number 10, South Carolina. South Carolina doesn't have the cheapest fuel prices in the country, but the fuel there is still very cheap compared to the other states. The average price for a gallon of regular fuel is about $3.46, and then the price just goes up from there with different grades. And the average price for a gallon of diesel fuel is about $4.86. Like I said, pretty cheap compared to most states, but not the cheapest. So what is there to do in South Carolina? Well, a couple of the most visited cities in South Carolina are Charleston and Myrtle Beach. Charleston is a good city to visit for history lovers, especially those who are into the history of the American Civil War, as well as it having a history with the original 13 colonies. Myrtle Beach is also a good city to visit for people who are into a good beach getaway, although you will have to watch the weather for hurricanes, as hurricanes are common on the South Carolina's coast. But Myrtle Beach has some of the best beaches in the South Atlantic coast of the United States, so I recommend giving that a look. And with fuel prices being as cheap as they are right now, and summer ending soon, I definitely would look into traveling there soon. Number 9, Alabama. Alabama is not a very sought after state, especially for tourism, and one could argue it's possibly why their fuel prices are so cheap. In Alabama, the average price for a gallon of regular fuel is about $3.44, and the average price for a gallon of diesel fuel is about $4.83. Not too bad. However, much of Alabama is lacking in tourism. However, the city of Huntsville has improved a lot recently. It recently bypassed Birmingham to become the largest city of Alabama, and according to many articles, its quality of life is actually very good, so there is one option for you. And if you really like beaches, Alabama has the cities of Mobile and Orange Beach located on the Gulf Coast, and they are known to have very relaxing beaches. It's also right next to Florida, so if that's your cup of tea, I say go for it. Although, spoiler alert, Florida is not on the list, so you have been warned. Number 8, Tennessee. A lot of people will actually talk you out of visiting Tennessee, and while I recommend not visiting Memphis and to just be cautious when visiting Nashville, there are some good places outside of the city to visit in Tennessee, and with its cheap fuel prices, it's a pretty good incentive to go down there. The average fuel price for a gallon of regular fuel is about $3.44, while the average fuel price for a gallon of diesel fuel is about $4.80. Not too bad. While I don't recommend visiting the west part of Tennessee that's close to the Mississippi River, there is a lot of interesting rural places you can visit out east of the state. Tennessee is home to the Appalachian Mountain Range, and there are a lot of rural towns you can visit out in there. And the scenery of the Appalachians are just gorgeous, as well as steeped in folklore. So I would check that out, you may be surprised. Number 7, Missouri. A lot of people are actually starting to like Missouri, and in some areas, like the Ozarks in the south, are not bad places to visit, especially if you like gorgeous natural scenery. And on top of that, they have cheap fuel prices right now. In Missouri, the average price for a gallon of regular fuel is about $3.45, and the average price for a gallon of diesel fuel is about $4.81. Not too bad. Though while I don't recommend cities like Springfield, Kansas City, and many parts of St. Louis due to their really bad crime rates, other cities like Branson and some parts of St. Louis are actually nice places to visit, so I would keep that in mind if you ever decide to visit Missouri. Number 6, Georgia. Georgia, in my opinion, is a very underrated state, and there is a lot of turning around going on down there in terms of people's views on the state, and their cheap fuel prices are definitely one of the reasons why many people are flocking down there, as their average price for a gallon of regular fuel is about $3.38, and their average price for a gallon of diesel fuel is about $4.74. While much of their businesses and tourist hubs are mostly centered around their largest city, Atlanta, there is also other cities people are visiting in Georgia, such as Augusta and Savannah. In fact, Savannah offers a good beach getaway for those who love that, although like with Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, you will have to watch out for hurricanes there during the Atlantic hurricane season. Number 5. Oklahoma. I've known a lot of people say Oklahoma is a very boring state. It has a lot of flat land, and of course there's all the tornadoes and more recently the earthquakes. But Oklahoma does have cheap fuel right now. Their average price for a gallon of regular fuel is about $3.46, and their average price for a gallon of diesel fuel is about $4.73. It is essential, however, because a lot of people that do big road trips where they go from, for example, Atlanta to Los Angeles, end up driving through Oklahoma. So it's nice to know that there is cheap fuel on the way. But what is there to do in Oklahoma? Well, their two most explored cities they have is Oklahoma City and Tulsa. Now, I do hear mixed things about Tulsa, but I do also hear that Oklahoma City is actually getting a little better, and with the usual cautions of exploring a metropolitan city, I'm sure it wouldn't hurt to visit one of these places. But if you're also intrigued by visiting flat rural farmland, oh, there's lots of places in Oklahoma you can choose from. Number 4. Louisiana. While the state of Louisiana has gone down in quality over the recent years, there are still some neat places to visit down there, and the cheap fuel prices could lure you down there. The average price for a gallon of regular fuel in Louisiana is about $3.40, and the average price for a gallon of diesel fuel is about $4.69, and it actually has the third cheapest diesel in the country right now. So what is there to do in Louisiana? Well, the most visited city in Louisiana is, of course, New Orleans. And while New Orleans has its fun quirks like its French Quarter, its Mardi Gras, jazz music, shamans, and its old-timely atmosphere, a lot of people don't recommend visiting New Orleans, at least not for very long. I know someone who actually visited New Orleans, and she actually warned me to not stay there for more than a weekend, and to also not drink the tap water, as they do not filter it properly there. So there's that. But hey, cheap fuel for your car has gotta be something. Number 3. Texas. Now this may come as a surprise to some, but Texas has some of the cheapest fuel prices right now. And on top of that, Texas is a huge state with a lot to do and even a lot of job opportunities for many people. In Texas, the average price for a gallon of regular fuel is about $3.37, and the average price for a gallon of diesel fuel is about $4.68. So what does Texas have to offer for tourists? Well, not only do they have several metropolitan cities to explore, like the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Houston, San Antonio, and the ever-growing Austin, they also have a lot to do in many aspects of tourism you can find, and it all depends on your personal preference. Texas has some of the most visited beaches in the country right on its Gulf Coast. There's also the Alamo, located right outside of San Antonio, that is widely regarded as one of the most important historical sites in the United States, and the location was a major factor during the Texas War of Independence back in the 19th century. There's just a lot to do in Texas, and with the fuel prices being cheap there, it's just an added incentive to visit. Number 2. Arkansas. This is another state that, for a while, people have not wanted to visit. However, its natural scenery, as well as its growing population and job opportunities in northwest Arkansas, have been enticing more tourists to visit Arkansas. And with cheap fuel prices, it just adds to the incentive to travel here. In Arkansas, the average price for a gallon of regular fuel is about $3.34, which is actually the cheapest regular fuel in the country right now. And the average price for a gallon of diesel fuel is about $4.78. While I don't recommend visiting cities like Little Rock and Pine Bluff, as those cities are considered some of the most dangerous cities in the state, there are actually many areas of Arkansas you can visit, such as Northwest Arkansas, which is home to the headquarters of Walmart and Tyson Foods, as well as a lot of beautiful natural sceneries. There is also Crater Diamonds National Park near Murfreesboro, Arkansas, which is actually the only diamond mine in the world that is open to the public. The state is actually growing in tourism, and its cheap fuel prices right now are just adding a huge incentive for people to come here. Alright, before we get to number 1, be sure to give this video a like as it can help with YouTube's algorithm, and be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell to be notified whenever I post a new video. And if you're on your phone, be sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss out on new videos. Alright, on to number 1. Number 1. Mississippi. Yes, I understand this is a state most people watching this probably don't want to visit, and I can understand that. Mississippi has not had that very much good luck, especially recently, though their fuel prices are very cheap at least. In Mississippi, the average price for a gallon of regular fuel is about $3.36, and the average price for a gallon of diesel fuel is about $4.67. Even though much of the state of Mississippi is not a desired vacation spot for most people, a lot of people who do visit Mississippi seem to enjoy the city of Biloxi, right on the Gulf Coast. And you can't really blame them, as Biloxi has some relaxing beaches you can go to. And with cheap fuel prices like this, it's no wonder people are thinking of visiting here. And that is it for the top 10 states in the US with the cheapest fuel prices. Do you agree with these picks? Let me know in the comments below. Was there something to do in any of the states I mentioned I didn't mention? Let us know in the comments. And also, just comment anyway. I love hearing your feedback on these videos. And be sure to give this video a like, as it can help with YouTube's algorithm. And be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell to be notified whenever I post a new video. And if you're on your phone, be sure your notifications is turned on so you don't miss out on new videos. This is Cameron, and thanks for watching.